welcome to Women's Radio 2. I'm Pat Barrett, and I'm happy to be back once again with Christine Baumgartner, our expert on relationships. And today, her topic is how to make the most of your energy and do well by yourself. So I'm happy to welcome Christine back to Women's Radio 2. Hi, Christine.
Hi, Pat. It's really lovely to be back with you. We always have the best conversations.
I know, I just love them. I hope other people are enjoying them. We're going to start putting, I say this, I know things take time, but I really am interested in getting more feedback from our audience, and
Yeah,
it's growing. So this would
good.
be fun. Yes. And maybe, I mean, even we could probably figure out how to have someone who really wanted to be on camera and talk with you. That would be a lot of fun too. So you
I'd love that.
yeah. So if you want to do something like that, our email is team@audioacrobat.com. Team@audioacrobat.com. And I will certainly make every effort to remind my assistant to put that in the copy. Well, okay. So I know you've had experiences with friends and other people who are just running. And then what happens? They fall, they have accidents because they weren't careful enough about how they were using their energy,
Mhm.
right? So
It's the
what do you
truth. So
tell?
today's conversation, even though often we talk about relationships with other people, relationships with people at work, relationships with friends and people at home, mostly this one's going to be about your relationship with yourself. It'll
Well, I
involve
think that's a good
people.
place to start.
It could involve other people because part of the challenge I find a lot for women is there was a book about maybe in the 70s about everything you should have learned in kindergarten or something like that was the title. And it was written by a man because he talked about all the things that boys learn. You know, we women get very frustrated that men just don't know to treat it, how to treat us, or what we would like, or what would make us happy. How come they don't just know? Because we women know each other. This is the kind of stuff that men just knew. And most of what they knew was how to be on a team, how to cooperate, how to ask for help, how to ask for somebody else's ideas without feeling competitive about it. Because when women got a chance, which was so lovely, and I'm a big fan of getting on sport teams, it was a big hurdle for them to get over where the cooperation and I think part of the competitiveness was we were competing for men because we needed men to survive back in the olden days. We needed, because they were the ones that made the money, they were the ones that could buy things. We couldn't do any of those things for ourselves. So
Well, not to interrupt you, but I think we went too far.
that's how the human race is generally. I have been really observing that in the short lifespan I've had on this earth compared to how long the earth's been here. That things seem to go from one extreme to the other. We're like one of those pendulums that if you let it go from way over here, it goes completely over here. There's no stopping in the middle ever. It just seems to happen that way. So then we need to figure out in a cooperative way, which you are all about cooperation and collaboration and partnership. That's what women's radio is all about, to figure out where it is in the middle. So, yes, I'm so sorry. It went really far. It went really far where the men, it went really far for the women. They're still not in the middle. But if we could figure out a way to, with ourselves and with the people in our lives, to get over ourselves, that we don't have to run the world, that the world will not stop spinning if the dishwasher is not loaded in the exact way we think it needs to be loaded, or the towels are not folded in the exact way we need them folded. And I know that sounds petty, but I got to tell you, I was one of those. I am a convert of that because I really thought, oh my God, I might as well do it myself. So one of the ways to think about your energy is like a pie chart. Because when the first time I did it, I was in a therapy session and she said, well, let's just look how you're spending your life. And it was 92.5% work And then there were these little tiny slices left over because there's really only 100% for other things. No wonder I was kind of tired and worn out and not feeling very balanced in my life. So if you really do make a pie chart and you write next to it all the things that you would do have in your life, would like to have in your life, and include rest and include play and include things that are just intellectually stimulating or fun, along with work and family, so that you then say, wow, honestly, where are those pie pieces now? Because that was what I hadn't even thought about it. It was wild when we did that, to say, where is it now and what would be better? And how could, because right, I can't change. There's no way to change it. I have older, right now we're called the sandwich generation because we have older parents to take care of. And then we have kids that are returning, the boomerang people that are coming back and living with us. And then we have grandchildren we want to play with, and we have friends and clubs. And I get all of that. But figuring out on the satisfaction scale, this is the part everybody leaves out. I get the busy scale. I get the even the feeling needed scale. How satisfying is it mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually? Everything has to have a vetting of that. Now, they don't have to all be even. There do have to be some that fill all of those. So, is there a little bit in a lot of those things that you're doing with family and volunteering? Is there a little bit in all of them that fills up your whole, I'm getting enough rest, I'm asking for help enough? Or is there one thing that fills it up more? Because what I've done with clients, because I had to do this for myself, was when I did that, there were these tanks that were completely full of, oh my gosh, I'm giving to all these people, but I'm not getting enough rest. And am I really feeling like I get enough back? Because I'm fine with giving out, but I've told you when I have volunteered at the horse places, I truly look at it because I'm cleaning stalls and I'm running next to a horse, holding a little kid on. I feel like I get it 3 to 4 times back than what I'm giving. And I'm giving a lot. I'm there for 4 to 5 hours, and sometimes it's pouring rain, sometimes it's so hot, and I still can't imagine not being there because of how much I'm getting back mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. It added to all four of those. So if you look at each thing in your life, there's things you have to do, but how can you ask somebody else for help? Is there somebody else that's caring for a parent that you could take them both to it's called daycare, even though it's for adult daycare. One of you could carpool both of them, or you could alternate paying for the bus to come pick them up. Or could you cook a bunch of meals one week for your family and then you have the week off because they're going to cook like twice as much and add it to
I,
your
I
family?
really think what you're saying is really the wave of the future. And
Yeah.
another friend of mine is doing something called homework. And it's not co-living per se, but it is about being in the same uh, structure, and then planning certain meals or things that everyone's going to do, and also having a central place for all the work.
Mhm.
And it still gives you privacy. It still
Mhm.
gives you people when you would like to be around them. But,
Mhm.
everything takes work. I mean, it takes an effort to, but also it gives you freedom in the sense that if anything did happen, if you did fall or whatever, there's somebody that's going to be around. And I think things like that can also be fun. When people, even in neighborhoods, say, well, why don't we exchange dinner once a week or once a month or whatever? And I've done all those things. I think it's community building, and it gives you relief, and it's fun because you get to try somebody else's food, or you get to spend time with them. So
Mhm.
it does take some effort in the beginning to get those things off the ground, but like you're saying, if you're getting the emotional goodies out of whatever it is, and it
Mhm.
frees you up in some other ways, wow, isn't that a good exchange?
I think you're really right. It's one of the things that really worked when there were communes, because everybody generally had their separate living place, but they often had a community eating place, a community babysitting place where, or people would get together and have a book club or have play games together.
Right.
And as you said, yes, it takes effort, and everybody's at this point is feeling overwhelmed. I can't schedule one more thing. The other thing that women have a lot of trouble with, we just do, is asking for help. We
Amen.
think it makes us look weak. We think people should just know. We think that we're going to be a burden. We think that what if they turned us down? What if they got mad that I asked? And we stop ourselves from asking for help. But I'll tell you the pushback that I give for that, because often those are the people that if you ask them for help, they're there in 2 seconds. Now, some of them don't really like that they're helping, they're resentful, but lots of them really do get a lot out of it. So the ones
Mhm.
that get a lot out of it, I say, if you don't ask somebody else for help and let them help you, they're now missing out on all those good feelings that you are feeling. And they go, oh, that really can help crack open the door. If they're receiving good feelings for helping people, they see that it would be nice to let somebody else help them. And the thing about the dinner thing was interesting because there was one woman, she hated to cook. So she loved that everybody else cooked, but she really liked to bake. So she never was in charge of dinner. She said, I'm fine doing dessert every day. If everybody's going to do dinner for everybody, one person does dinner for the whole neighborhood and they'll bring me dinner. I'm going to include the dessert for everybody. And it really
Wow,
works.
that's
So you
nice.
need to be kind of creative because she goes, you don't want
Right, right,
my cooking.
right,
My
right.
family doesn't even like my cooking and they love me. So I think you could be really creative if everybody stops a minute, but sometimes they think they don't even have a minute to stop. And so I was telling Pat in the beginning that I have a very good friend that I've had for such a long time, and she's now fallen 3 times. And this time she actually broke her leg in more than one place.
Oh,
And she has a
goodness.
lot on her plate that are very important things. A nonprofit she runs, an ill husband, a daughter that was in a car accident. And yet there's so many people that would really like to come and help. And it's almost like, but I don't have time to teach them, or they don't have the skill I have. Well, let us do the thing that we do know how to do to help you not have to do so much. So it's hard. It's really hard. The overly busy people are usually the hardest ones to ask for help. And they're usually the ones that go too fast, don't get enough rest, thinking about 7 things while they're getting out of the shower, and the hard part that's really hard, and I mean this in the most sympathetic way. Now she lost 3 hours because the paramedics had to come get her. They had to take
Right,
her to the emergency room. She had to
of
get her
course.
leg put in some. So there's 3 hours that, okay, take 5 minutes to ask us for help.
And then
So
she has to go back for doctor's offices to see how she's doing. It
oh,
is
it's
time
just been a
consuming.
thing. It's been a thing. So if we look at it that logically, which is hard when you're over busy and over scheduled. So what I suggest is you get together a small group and there's accountability of, let's look at what we all are doing this week. Is there a way that we can help each other? Is there a way we can cooperate? I've been in a number of different mentoring groups and we did that. How can I support you between now and our next meeting? What are there things that I can do business wise, or help you with this next assignment we're working on? And then we would help each other with personal things because we got to know each other so well. So if you would take the time to just get a little pod of people that you really trust, that have some similar skills and some different skills, and then
Hmm.
ask them for help, ask them for information, ask if they have a referral. Because the other thing I've been telling people with older parents, I said, you would be so amazed if you talk to a social worker. They have so many services that you don't know about that can be covered by insurance. Some of them are free. Palliative care, hospice doesn't mean they're dying. It just means they need a whole bunch more care. And they'll give you equipment that it doesn't cost. It's one of the things we pay for with all our high taxes, especially here in California. But I'm willing if that's where it's going.
Hmm.
So when you have there's no way you know everything about caring for an elderly person. There's no way you know everything about caring for somebody who can't find themselves a job. I'm actually coaching two people right now, two young men who are in the process of figuring out what they want to do with their lives. It's such a blast. They're balancing college with looking for jobs. And because I'm not the parent, it's a little bit less of a charge for them.
Right.
And so looking for outside help that you don't have to do everything yourself is the best advice I can give anybody. And then have a person that you can call and complain, because that's the last thing I'm going to say. That one mentoring group that I was in, there were three of us, and we set up that when we'd first get on the phone with each other, everybody got 10 minutes to WHINE while we were WINE. And your job was to say, no, I didn't have anything. But most of the time there was something that you had 10 minutes to give it your best shot. You complain, it's horrible and awful. And then you have to say at the end, I feel better because I complained. And then you say, I'm done, or I'm looking for feedback. I have to
Wow.
tell you, it made everybody feel better to complain because we ladies get it out that way. And then sometimes that's all we needed. And then we had two other really smart people on the phone who'd go, I know a friend or I know somebody that does that. It was remarkable, Pat.
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up because it's a topic I really love because I'm going to use it. I'm calling it creating community because anytime that a group of people get together, obviously with different kinds of skills, etc., and their real intent is to help each other, amazing things happen. And I point out as one of my examples when Steve Jobs came back to Apple and he put people in pods with different talents, etc. And then the next thing out of that were all those innovations that they did with Apple Music and the little pod things and blah blah blah, just amazing things. And then Hewlett Packard also has adopted that approach too. So it isn't just something nice that women do. This is something that already people have proven is very effective in business. So I'm so glad you brought that up. And I really hope, and look how it will work in neighborhoods and in bigger places too. And I think you're right that if we are helping each other, it will somewhat help us slow down just a little bit and allow this kind of interchange with friends and family, etc. That will give you the emotional balance that you also need. So I think it's just so many great points in your topic today, and thank you so very much.
You're
So,
welcome so very much. Also, family dinners that the
family dinner,
electronics are put away, even if it's a half an hour. Half an hour. Sit down. How was your day? Look at each other.
right,
No
right, right.
electronics.
I don't think
Don't
people
have
know how
dinner
to do
around
that.
the microwave.
I think, yeah, I think people are still sitting in front of TV watching football or something. Well, everybody has a choice. But I think that your point is so well taken, and especially for busy women. Yes. So thank you again. Thank you for being on Women's Radio 2 again and sharing your great knowledge. It's just always great to have you here. And good things are happening. So come back and see Christine again next week, and we'll look forward to our time together. Thank you so much, Christine.
Thank you again, Pat. It's always a pleasure. I love having a chat with you.
Likewise.